A strange quiet settles over the 43rd Battle of Christophsis, not the tactical lull that precedes an assault, not the strained hush of exhausted soldiers catching their breath. Something gentler, something unsure. Blaster fire fades across the crystal fields as both sides call a truce to gather the wounded. Kentuckians, blue coats and gray coats alike, step forward with stretchers and canteens, boots crunching on the glittering ground. A young Union private kneels beside a fallen man in gray. The wounded soldier blinks. Jacob? Elias? The field changes instantly, because this battle, this entire engagement, contains nothing but Kentuckians on both sides. The Republic names it the 43rd Battle of Christophsis. The Confederates insist on calling it the Skirmish at Junction 6 Delta Blue, named after the nearest hyperspace lane, somehow managing not to understand that hyperspace lanes do not have junctions. Both names are wrong. This isn't Christophsis versus the Confederacy. It's Kentucky versus Kentucky, and the soldiers realize it all at once. Two artillerymen recognize each other's horses before each other. A corporal demands to know who sent the entire Commonwealth to the same front. No one answers. Voices rise gently. What are we fighting for out here? Who decided Kentucky belonged to either side? We're half a galaxy from home. The doubt spreads, then the clarity. They are not Union here. They are not Confederate. They are Kentuckians, stranded on a world of glass. The firing dies, the shouting fades, and the war, at least here, simply stops. Union and Confederate Kentuckians gather on the crystalline ridges, comparing towns and counties, swapping stories that should have been told at a family reunion, not on an alien battlefield. A Union sergeant asks a Confederate lieutenant, "So what in blazes are we supposed to be out here?" The lieutenant shrugs. "Kentuckians, I reckon." Someone murmurs, "Maybe we should stand together instead of apart." And the idea takes root with the quiet certainty of something that was always meant to be spoken. No one orders it. No one argues with it. They unite for Kentucky and Kentucky alone. The ships become the next target of their newfound clarity. Republic Kentuckians march up the ramps of a Venator with the confident politeness of people who know they're not supposed to be there, but also know no one can stop them. Confederate Kentuckians wander into Separatist frigates to look around and accidentally capture the entire hangar. Neither side fires a shot. The two stolen fleets meet above Christophsis, guns raised, engines hot, and then someone on a Venator shouts across comms, "Hey, we're all from Bourbon County!" Half the gray coats freeze. Someone shouts back, "So are we!" Weapons lower. Laughter spreads. Old rivalries crack like thin ice, and a corporal stands on the command deck, clears his throat, and declares, "We hereby form the Space Commonwealth of Kentucky." No one objects. Kentucky has left the war, and it has taken the ships. A government forms on the top deck of a stolen Venator. The debate over leadership lasts 10 minutes and raises the volume of the hangar by 30%. One private climbs onto the crates and shouts, "We need 2 governors!" Everyone agrees immediately. For the Confederate half, the choice is obvious. John Hunt Morgan, the cavalry raider whose confidence functions as a natural resource. For the Union half, Ambrose Burnside, the man whose beard alone has won arguments. They stand on the crates, staring each other down. "Well, Burnside," Morgan says, "looks like we're running a space nation." Burnside nods. "Reckon we are." Their first task, find a planet. This sparks a 12-hour argument involving soil, rivers, hills, caves, whether a planet can be honestly humid, and the correct number of counties to memorize before leadership is legal. The only outcome is that they agree they were elected. For Kentucky, this is enough. The planet search begins. Tatooine? Too sandy. Felucia? Too colorful. Forests got secrets. Mustafar? No. Naboo? Too peaceful. Suspiciously peaceful. Megiddo? Yankee winter. Kashyyyk? Trees ain't supposed to be that big. That place is cursed. Hours pass. Charts are slammed onto tables and immediately lost. Someone threatens to pick planets by throwing darts. Then Lothal appears. Open plains, rolling fields, open skies. Morgan stares. Feels right. Burnside nods. Looks right. No one argues. The fleet set course. Kentucky has chosen its frontier. Lothal does not expect them. The twin fleets drop out of hyperspace broadcasting. We come in peace, but we also come with horses. Lothal Command does not know how to process this. Representatives gather at the city outskirts. Officials, farmers, militia volunteers, each staring nervously at the arriving Kentuckians who disembark with the easy confidence of people who have already decided they belong here. Morgan steps forward first, tipping his hat with cavalry swagger. Burnside follows, beard immaculate, posture diplomatic. The Lothalians exchange glances. The Kentuckians exchange nods. Negotiations begin. The Lothal governor clears his throat. State your intentions. Burnside answers calmly. We're looking to settle. Morgan adds, with respect and boundaries and barns. The governor hesitates. And you brought warships? A few, Morgan says. And artillery? Burnside gestures vaguely. Well, we had it. And horses? Every Kentuckian nods at once. The governor inhales slowly. This is going to be complicated. The Commonwealth's request is simple. Give us some southern land on this here planet. Lothal officials look at their maps, then at the hollow globe, then at the sky, searching for someone, anyone, who understands what southern means in this context. One cartographer mutters, we don't have a south in the way they're describing it. Another whispers, if we choose wrong, they'll argue forever. A third just sits down and accepts defeat. Morgan insists on anything south of the equator, but north enough to keep the soil honest. Burnside counters that south is a cultural condition, not a latitude. A Kentuckian in the back suggests that south is simply wherever horses look happiest. A debate erupts immediately. Map lines are drawn, erased, redrawn, then argued about. Lothalians begin sweating, Kentuckians begin enjoying themselves. Finally, out of exhaustion, mercy, or self-defense, Lothal grants them a large, uninhabited stretch of land in the southern grasslands region, a designation created on the spot to end the conversation. The Kentuckians accept with solemn pride. The Lothalians pray they never have to explain it again. Generations later, scholars will still argue whether the chosen territory counts as southern. The debate will outlive nations. The fleets descend, horses disembark onto alien soil, cabins rise, barns follow. Tobacco seeds find their way into furrows before the sun sets. Space Kentucky has a home. Not the one they left behind, but close enough to remember who they are. The settlement rises fast, faster than any of Lothal's planners anticipated, faster than any Republic census droid could accurately log, and far faster than the Separatists are comfortable with. The first structures are simple. Cabins of timber hauled from local groves, roofs hammered together with tools that absolutely should not function on alien alloys, but somehow do. Then come the barns. Then come the stills. By the end of the first week, half the southern plains smell faintly of horse sweat, pipe smoke, and corn mash. 3 scents no one on Lothal had ever encountered before, and all of which they will come to associate with prosperity, noise, and unpredictable fireworks. The Lothalians observe from a respectful distance. The Kentuckians observe nothing from a distance. They introduce themselves by knocking on doors, offering jars of suspiciously powerful liquor, and immediately asking if anyone wants to hear a story about Daniel Boone. Most Lothalians do. Some regret it. Tobacco grows in Lothal soil with startling enthusiasm. Fields pop up in neat rows, tended by men singing old mountain tunes as though the songs themselves encourage the leaves to grow faster. Horses take to the alien grasslands like they've always belonged there. Wide fields become racetracks overnight. Lothalians attend their first Kentucky-style horse race and leave changed, mostly because they didn't know a creature could run that fast without spontaneously dying. Barns fill with barrels, aging moonshine at a rate that alarms every agricultural inspector within 100 kilometers. The inspectors return 3 times. They give up after the 4th. Culture spreads the way only frontier culture can, organically, loudly, and with instruments no one has names for. Fiddles echo across the plains. Banjo rhythms bounce between bluffs. Campfires flicker like constellations on the ground. A Lothalian farmer, hearing a fiddle for the first time, sums it up perfectly. It sounds like dancing and fighting at the same time. He is not wrong. Trade begins quietly and becomes unstoppable. Republic traders arrive asking if the rumors are true, if Space Kentucky really has tobacco that can calm a Nexu and whiskey strong enough to make a stormtrooper reconsider his life choices. Separatist agents arrive pretending to be diplomats, but are obviously there for the same reasons. Lothal citizens, initially hesitant, begin appearing at barn dances, markets, and the ever-growing racetrack known unofficially as the Lothal Derby, where bets are loud, horses are louder, and the alcohol should legally count as a weapon. Yet through all the noise and prosperity, the Commonwealth remains strangely reserved. Not unfriendly, not isolationist, just Kentuckian. They trade, talk, dance, gamble, sing, and barter with anyone who shows up. But when dawn comes, they return to their cabins, their fields, and their own people. Space Kentucky is friendly with the galaxy, but it belongs to itself. Word reaches Coruscant and Raxus by rumor first, then by panicked courier, then by diplomatic dispatch so heavily redacted it may as well be blank. The message is the same each time. Kentucky has seceded from both sides. Into space. The Republic Senate refuses to believe it at first. The Separatist Council refuses to believe it second. By the time the third report arrives, everyone believes it and wishes they didn't. In the Republic, an emergency session convenes. A core world senator demands, how many ships did they steal? A military aide answers, several. Another senator asks, several what? The aide just repeats, several. The room goes quiet. The Chancellor, who has survived coups, crises, and endless committee hearings, mutters under his breath, not Kentucky? Not now. Across the galaxy, Count Dooku reviews the same intelligence report. He reads it twice, slowly. Governor Morgan seized a Recusant-class destroyer, the analyst explains. Dooku blinks. He rode a horse into the hangar bay. He insisted the beast wanted to see the stars. Dooku closes the datapad. He says nothing. Nothing at all. The silence is the sound of a man deciding which part of reality he can safely acknowledge without losing his mind. Both factions attempt to contain the situation. The Republic issues a quiet directive. Do not acknowledge Space Kentucky's independence. The Separatists issue an even quieter directive. Do not engage Space Kentucky under any circumstances. Yet the galaxy already knows. Because Lothal knows. And Lothal talks. It begins with whispers in taverns, then spread by traders, then by smugglers who add wild embellishments, including but not limited to, they've tamed the wildlife. Their whiskey can knock out a Wookiee. They race horses faster than speeder bikes. The governors settle disputes by wrestling over a county map. Some of these are true. By the time official channels attempt damage control, it's too late. Both sides try subtle pressure. The Republic sends diplomats. Space Kentucky sends them home with jars of moonshine and polite refusals. The Separatists send envoys. Space Kentucky feeds them, teaches them to square dance, and sends them home even more politely. Neither attempt works. Neither attempt even phases the Commonwealth. Behind closed doors, Republic tacticians whisper a quiet dread. If they ever pick a side. Separatist analysts finish the thought, that side wins. No one wants to admit it. No one wants to provoke it. Space Kentucky is the new neutral zone. Loud, stubborn, armed, and impossibly proud. A buffer neither war planned for, but both fear disrupting. The rise of Space Kentucky forces every major power in the galaxy to redraw their maps, quietly, nervously, and with far more hesitation than they care to admit. Republic cartographers label the region unaligned Commonwealth territory. Separatist strategists label it the Lothal exclusion zone. But the nickname that spreads the fastest comes from a single exhausted analyst on Raxus who mutters into a microphone, "Sir, we've got that damned Kentucky problem." The phrase sticks. Every brief, every dossier, every hushed tactical meeting circles back to it. On Lothal's southern plains, the Commonwealth settles in with remarkable speed. Ships remain ships, warships, not barns, and Kentuckians treat them with the same reverence they would give a prized mare. Engineers learn to maintain reactors. Gunners learn to calibrate turbolasers. Helmsmen learn to steer vessels the size of city blocks with the steady hands of men who have guided riverboats through fog. They adapt quickly. Too quickly. A Republic observer watching their first training sortie whispers, "They're getting good." The exercises look bizarre at first glance. Frigates circle each other in patterns that resemble cavalry maneuvers. Venators sweep low over the plains in tight, controlled arcs, almost like long-legged horses cutting across open fields. Even their boarding drills feel like barn raisings performed at orbital velocity. Fast, coordinated, loud, and somehow successful despite no one agreeing on who's in charge. A Separatist officer, reviewing captured footage, frowns. Is this doctrine? His counterpart shakes his head. No, this is culture. Lothal's citizens watch with fascination. Every week brings a different spectacle. Starships weaving across the sky like a choreographed migration. Gunnery crews shouting corrections in accents no translator droid can parse. Signal operators inventing hand gestures. No one taught them, but everyone understands a local farmer sums it up. They take whatever they touch and make it their own. Even the air sounds different when they're flying. Republic admirals attempt to categorize the Commonwealth's tactics. Separatist generals attempt to predict them. Neither succeeds. A Republic tactician presents a hollow analysis. They attacked here, fell back here, charged here, and then, near inexplicably, flanked their own flank. A senator asks, "Why?" The tactician shrugs. "They said the flank was looking lonely." Across the table, a Separatist intelligence officer shakes his head. "With Kentuckians, sir, every maneuver is intentional, even the ones that aren't." And so the border forms. Not through treaty, not through diplomacy, but through universal caution. The Republic does not want to provoke them. The Separatists do not want to test them. Even pirates avoid their shipping lanes after a single incident in which a Commonwealth boarding party arrived on horseback inside a docking bay and requested their surrender politely but firmly. Rumor says the pirates surrendered before the horses even disembarked. Space Kentucky becomes the galaxy's strangest neutral zone. Friendly, loud, self-sufficient, and absolutely armed. The unspoken rule reaches every corner of the war. Do not disturb the Commonwealth. Do not provoke the Commonwealth. Do not underestimate the Commonwealth, because in a conflict of fleets and factions, there is one truth no strategist can ignore. Whoever angers Kentucky first, loses second. The Commonwealth's rise settles into something almost peaceful. The kind of peace that makes the Republic uneasy, the Separatists jittery, and Lothal's city council drink more than they used to. But for the Kentuckians themselves, there is one truth they cannot ignore. They are not home. Not really. Not in their bones. Every night, when the music fades and the stills go quiet, someone inevitably asks the same question. Reckon there's a way back to the real Kentucky? At first, the question is a wistful thing, a thought tossed into campfire smoke. But slowly, steadily, it becomes a plan. Governor Burnside calls the first meeting. He stands in a half-finished cabin, maps spread across a table built from scavenged starship parts. "We need a path," he says. "A real one. A way home." Governor Morgan nods. "We ain't settlers. We're stranded." Around them, scouts, helmsmen, engineers, and men who simply know how to read the sky gather with the same quiet determination. And from this, the Commonwealth launches its greatest undertaking, the Big Map Initiative. The plan is simple in description and impossible in execution. Chart every hyperspace lane between Lothal and the unknown regions. Cross-reference distortions caused by the original timeline rupture. Determine if the galaxy that birthed Kentucky lies somewhere beyond the veil. Find the route back. It is the kind of plan that requires brilliance, luck, and possibly divine intervention. So, a Kentuckian volunteers for each. The work begins on the decks of their stolen fleet. Venators become laboratories at night. Frigates glow with diagnostic charts. Engineers sit beside cartographers comparing gravitational anomalies with hand-drawn county maps that no one has the heart to throw away. A communications officer squints at a cluster of stars. "That there looks like the Big Dipper." A navigator corrects him. "That ain't even the right galaxy." Still looks like it. Arguments ensue. Progress is made anyway. Meanwhile, down on the plains, life continues. New Kentucky takes shape. Tobacco fields stretch wider. Races grow louder. Distilleries grow stronger. Lothal citizens adapt. Some learn the banjo. Some marry into the Commonwealth. Some decide that whatever the Kentuckians are doing, it is better not to ask too many questions. Back in the halls of power, both sides of the war monitor the situation nervously. Republic intelligence notes they're searching for a way home. If they succeed, the balance of power shifts. Separatist analysts reply, if they fail, they remain here forever. A pause. No one knows which outcome scares them more. Months pass. The big map grows. A wall-length tangle of star charts, anomalies, hand-drawn notes, and one section labeled, if this part is right, we might be close. If this part is wrong, we might explode. No one erases it. The search continues. The Commonwealth endures. And in the meantime, between two empires locked in a ridiculous war they never wanted, Kentucky stands once again as a buffer, a frontier, a liminal line. Only now, that line is held by a fleet. Space Kentucky is no longer an accident, no longer a curiosity, no longer a footnote squeezed between two factions. It is its own power, its own people, its own world. And whether the path home lies beyond the stars or forever out of reach, one truth remains as steady as the plains of Lothal. The Commonwealth isn't leaving the galaxy quietly. This has been Canon Chaos.